Hello, today I'm at a place called Horton's Woods. It's a conservation area not too far from my house where I go for walks every so often. Every once in a while I've seen deer, quite a few porcupines. In fact, we'll probably go by the porcupine's house and check it out. What we're looking at here is a big old gnarly maple tree that's hollow in the middle, and a porcupine has been known to live in there. But some geocachers, if you know what geocaching is, decided to put their geocache into the hollowed out hole, and ever since then I have not seen the porcupine. Usually you can spot him up on the top of the tree, because when he hears you coming, he runs up there to hide. Okay, so I've recovered the geocache out of the tree. If you don't know what a geocache is, people take these little things and they hide them all over the country, in the woods usually. I find them every once in a while, and it's a hobby. People take a GPS, they go to a website and they get the coordinates, and then they go out and search and see if they can find the geocaches. Usually inside there's a little prize. This one happens to have stickers, and there's a notebook. You write your name in the notebook that you were there. Usually you take one of the stickers, and sometimes people will leave a little treasure, like a sticker or something, a little toy or something. And it's a hobby that people do. I have nothing against it. I find them all the time without even looking. But in this case it was an animal's house, and I don't appreciate that they put their geocache in the hole where a porcupine lives. Scared all the people getting the geocache scared the porcupines away, apparently. But anyway, I'll throw it back and I'll keep going in my walk. There's some other people walking around in here. I don't know if they have a dog or what. So I probably won't video if they're near me. It just seems too awkward. A lot of trails lined with white pines. You know, Maine is known as the pine tree state. Among other nicknames. Throughout the woods and throughout the trails there's these benches. This one's overlooking the meadow. I always think someday I'm going to look out there and see a moose. You can see lots of color. Okay, we've come to the little bridge that goes over the Stackpole Creek. That's a blue jay in the background. Stackpole Creek, which runs into the Saco River. Side of this bridge there's a giant, it's hard to explain how big around this is, giant pine tree. Giant pine trees, or giant trees in general, they call border trees, and that's because in the old farming days they didn't cut the trees around the border of their property, and so the trees around the border of the property lines got to grow real big. So they call that a border pine right here, and it's most likely on a property line. The trail splits. I'm going to take a right. This is called the Spruce Trail, I believe. And we'll see where we go. You know, maybe someday they'll have smell-o-vision. It just smells like Christmas trees. I don't know why. Maybe because it's been dry, I don't know. But the smell is really strong today. Really smells good. A little swampy area. They put these. The side trail. It's about a mile. There's an old stone bridge over the creek. Supposedly, it's one of the oldest bridges in Maine. They just had a big project and rebuilt it. Yeah, but today I'm not hiking out to the bridge. It's a mile out and back, and it's kind of boring to me. I've been out there a few times. Buddy Sue and I. Hey. His dog. Dog got off the leash, was running through the woods. Luckily it didn't bite. It was just happy to be loose, running around. Okay. Ooh, slippery on the pine needles. The end of the spruce loop, and I'm going to go out to the red maple, swamp maple loop, I think it's called. Let's see. Red maple trail has red markers painted on the trees, but the trail is so worn it's pretty obvious where to go. Don't really need the markers. I guess when there's snow on the ground, the markers on the trees would come in handy. Little mucky spot. See what there is for footprints. It looks like that's a deer print right there. It's hard to tell, but I know when there's snow on the ground I see lots of deer prints. I think they marked it enough. It's actually a loop, and you can decide which way to go. I just usually just go clockwise. But for crying out loud, it's like tons of markers. Still next to the Stackpole Creek, which is running pretty low right now. On the other side, through the bushes, that's a bench. That's the end of another trail. Comes to that bench and overlooks the creek. Coming pretty close to the edge of the property, and just up ahead here there's an area where they did some lumbering and cleared out, thinned out the trees, and that's one of the places where I've actually seen deer. Usually they hear me coming. I usually see their rear end as they're running away, but I'll keep my eyes out. Well, there's definitely something in there making noise. I don't see it, but I can certainly hear it right over here. But the reason they call this the maple trail, or red maple trail, is because of this giant maple tree. It's pretty old. You can see some big branches fell off. A couple of years ago when I first started coming here, those branches were still on the tree. It's just huge. Not quite sequoia big, but it's big. 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 On the edge here, there's an old barbed wire fence. Sometimes I come in, you can see what kind of animals came through because their fur gets stuck on the fence. Maybe coyote or deer. See if I can see. I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up. There's some hairs right here. Need a dark background. Let's see. Looks like coyote here. Doesn't look like deer. We're about 2 miles from the parking lot, and, in this little high ground overlooking the swamp. And well, I'll show you what's out here. So you can sit and overlook the swamp. Maybe you'll see some animals if you sat quietly. You'd probably see something go by. I don't know how they get it way out here. But that's kind of why I like these woods. You can come out and just sit and get away for a little while and get exercise at the same time. Interesting polypore or fungus of some sort on this tree. I've never seen them that color before. So I have more on this dead tree. Interesting. Going by this mud puddle, you can see that. Looks like a porcupine or a raccoon footprint. Probably a raccoon. As you can tell, I can't resist going by a mud spot without looking to see what's been through there. Usually I'm just guessing, not always right. But it's just something to do while I'm out here. Well, I'm done with the Red Maple Trail. Now I'm going to head over on the Beaver Path Trail, heading back towards the parking lot. Beaver Path Trail is marked in white. Kind of redundant, Beaver Path Trail. It should be either Beaver Trail or Beaver Path. Beaver Path Trail, it makes no sense. Who comes up with this? And we have another bench overlooking the creek. And this bench used to be over here. Walking along, I just noticed this thing. Big log hanging up in the branches, waiting to fall down right over the trail and kill somebody. That's what they call a widowmaker. Oh, some windy day, that baby's gonna come falling down. What's this? What's that? It's apples. Yep, it's an apple tree. Actually, there's a couple apple trees in the middle of the woods here. I think this used to be farmland at one time.